Nobody could have seen it coming. An accident. Bob Geddy scrunched up his face. 15 minutes into their interview, he'd done a full circle to the exact words he'd used at the start. Georgie Harvey laid a mental bet on what he'd say next. A good man's life snuffed out. Kaput. Dead. Word for word, same facial expression, identical pauses. He hadn't just used it earlier, but also on the breaking news report on Channel 7 last Friday evening. It had been echoed in the print, radio and television media until the story was bumped from the spotlight by the murder of a baby boy during a burglary in Bendigo. If Georgie worked for a daily, she'd be chasing today's headline, not talking to Geddy on his farm in Gordon. The main perk of writing for Champagne Musings was leeway to follow her instincts on stories that had lost traction in the mainstream. From her warm, comfy study in Richmond, Geddy's quirks had signalled there was more to this situation than the initial news story. Standing in the iced-over paddock with her feet turning numb inside her boots, a niggle seeded in her mind. She shuffled on the spot, and her feet prickled with the movement. She assessed Geddy, rerunning her editor's response. You reckon there's a story, so find it. Typical of any conversation with Sheridan Judd, she'd added, Don't miss your deadlines, though. In Georgie's silence, the middle-aged man repeated the words and gestures. He's talking about his best mate's sudden death. Sure it's not a reaction to shock? She pretended to make notes, covertly watching Geddy's eyes shift to the shed, float over a bunch of gas cylinders, then across the misty yard to the dam from where they'd pulled Alan Hanson's body. Almost certain. Her gut feeling was that he kept restating it so that he wouldn't forget or deviate. She'd seen it before. Her partner, John Franklin, told her crooks did it all the time, and he should know as a seasoned cop. Hanson's drowning was no accident. Constable Sam Tesserino's mobile went off. She scooped it up, noted the caller, and grinned. Hi. She restrained herself from adding, Boss? Franklin, how's it going? You busy? Just killing a few minutes while I'm waiting for Marty. Got to thinking, you've only 6 months left. You worked out where you want to go next? Since John Franklin's move from the Daylesford station, they often went days without catching up. Yet she knew that he meant her next posting, when her 2-year probationary period was up, and not holiday plans. Definitely the country, but not a town this small. Regional, with a CIU, maybe Bendigo or Ballarat. That's if I have much say. Sam's chest tightened with an odd mix of gloom and excitement. She struggled to imagine moving on from Daylesford, even though it wasn't the same anymore. She had to transfer out in a step towards joining one of the squads. She wasn't sure which. The mounted branch used to be her dream. But after what had happened at Mount Dandenong last spring, she'd done a mind shift from never wanting to deal with sex offences or homicides to thinking she could make a real difference in a unit like that after a requisite stint in a crime investigation crew. She saw the time. Shit. With her mobile still pressed to her ear, she snatched her jacket from the back of her chair and gave the toilet door a sharp rap as she rushed by. Hurry up, Irvy! Catch you at a bad moment. You got a call out. Franklin sounded strange. Could he be wistful? She laughed. You miss the uniform, don't you? You miss us. He denied it. Yeah, right, whatever you say. But yes, we should have left already. We're due to meet a nurse in Korweinguboora at 10 a.m. It'd ordinarily only take 15 minutes to reach the address in Korweinguboora, or Korwingi, as locals dubbed it, but she'd wanted to allow longer, in view of the weather. Not going to happen now. Thanks, Irvy. Hang on, she told Franklin, then hollered to her partner. Irvy, hurry up! I'll meet you in the truck. What's the job? After grabbing the keys for the marked 4-wheel drive, she juggled the phone to shrug on her jacket. A welfare check at a farm on Riley's Lane.